Hello everyone, it's C4 Sages back again with another Monster Hunter Wilds video, and I wanted to take some time to talk about all of the stuff that was live streamed, so basically all of the news in terms of kind of new features, and hoping that this video serves as a way to kind of break down all the stuff that's expected to be in Monster Hunter Wilds. And as I'm kind of talking here, there is going to be some gameplay sort of in the background, and big shout out to Infant Terrible. They posted this video on their YouTube channel, and I'll link their channel to the site if you want to see the entire video. But it's basically more or less like a campaign demo, just showcasing what Monster Hunter Wilds looks like, what it's playing like. So, you know, as the video is playing in the background, more or less going through all the new stuff that's coming to Monster Hunter Wilds, and there is a lot to unpack. So to kind of begin, armor is no longer gender locked. That is right. Armor has multiple designs and any player can mix and match regardless of body type. This has been something that I'm sure many people who've been playing Monster Hunter since Monster Hunter World and obviously Monster Hunter games prior, this has been one of those things that I know a lot of people are like, man, imagine if we can wear, like, you know, if I'm a male hunter, what if I could be, you know, wear the female hunter, kind of mix match. So now you can do that, and in my opinion, although it's a subtle change, it's a big one in my opinion, so I do appreciate that they're bringing that. Quest end timer can be skipped both in solo play and if you are playing with other people, other actual people. People can vote if they want the quest timer to end, so I'm assuming as soon as you gather all the materials and carve the monster and stuff like that, everyone can vote on it. So that's a nice little addition as well. Before, it would take so long just to go into, you know, obviously you would finish the quest and you get sent back to either the gathering hub, you'll be sent back to the main camp, and so it's kind of nice that you can skip that now. Dead monsters now have hitboxes, meaning once you kill a monster, you can actually climb on top of them, which is a pretty interesting change. The item bar can be extended for better management, so that's pretty cool. Monsters are also very unpredictable, as it was showcased during some of the gameplay. Some of the devs noticed that monsters can be pretty unpredictable, and they can kind of do a lot of stuff randomly at times. So it's kind of hard to expect what they'll do, but because there's so much coding in this game, it's going to be nice for monsters to kind of behave and act wildly, which is kind of the whole point of the game. There is also two NPC hunters. There's Alyssa and Rosso, or Russo, I guess you can say. I believe it is Rosso. So there is going to obviously be new characters, and I'm assuming we're going to see even more characters as we see more of the game. Mounting is back as well. For those who are wondering what mounting is when you jump on top of the monster and thing happens where your hunter is like literally on top climbing the monster and like stabbing it. And instead of just stabbing it like in previous games, or I should say like in Monster Hunter World, this time you can actually use your main weapon to slowly stagger it, and obviously you can do a big attack. So as soon as the monster's just like, I've taken enough damage here, you can do your kind of big attack, and all the attacks are different from what they used to be. And yeah, there's just so much stuff. Large dung pods can now be used to disperse herds. So there are some monsters in this game that they're in herds, meaning there's multiple of these monsters. There's beta versions and there's the alpha versions and stuff. So you can actually use larger dung pods to actually disperse the herds, which is pretty cool. You can also lure monsters by using what's called a luring pod. You can manage how aggressive some monsters are, and so it's pretty interesting how that mechanic is going to work with monsters that are in a herd. So if you're just trying to take out the main alpha monster, there are ways where you can lure them out pretty easily. There's also a bleeding pod that can be used to create wounds faster, so that's going to be pretty interesting. There's actually going to be pods where you can create wounds and, you know, definitely inflict more damage on the monster. Set bonuses are back. You can have mixed sets, so basically all your armor is going to have different skills. Weapons also have built-in armor skills as well, which is pretty cool. So, you know, you could definitely mix and match, which has kind of been the formula for most Monster Hunter games when you're building different builds for different monsters and different quests and stuff like that. Nearly every weapon has at least one specific mechanic that rewards players for perfect timing, which is really, really cool. Quests are created by choosing a monster on the map. So when you open up your map, which is a 3D map, may I add, you can literally select a monster and then choose to either hunt them or capture them from anywhere you are on the map. It's gonna be relatively a seamless experience. One thing to note is that if you do damage to monsters, they can carry over between quests. So let's say you do quest 1, but you also do damage to quest 2, or the monster in quest 2. In the process, you can later create a quest for the monster that's in quest 2, and it will still have the damage that you did to it. So it's gonna be interesting how that works. I think we might still need a little bit more information on that. And yes, there are gonna be pop-up camps, which you can place strategically anywhere on the map, which is really, really cool. And camps can be destroyed by monsters. So it's and the animation for putting out the camp is going to be pretty cool as well. Your friendly palicos are going to help you kind of put that together. And like I mentioned, the new map is fully 3D, meaning you can pause the game in real time. You could before, but now like you're not going to be completely separated from the gameplay or the gameplay screen. It just pauses and it actually shows up like a 3D map, which I think is really cool. It could be rotated, it could be tilted, it could be zoomed. So that's actually really freaking cool. Let's see, we have so many things. Monsters drop edition rewards based on the time of day and season, and possibly other factors. So I'm really curious to see what that's going to be like. There's definitely going to be more strategy involved when it comes to that. Cooking is obviously back too, but this time around, you can actually cook mid-hunt, and you can mix up different foods for different food buffs and stuff like that. And obviously, if you've been seeing gameplay, you can cook fish and steak and shrimp and cabbages and all this other cool stuff. The quest reward screen doesn't pause the game anymore. It just comes up as an overlay. So again, it's gonna be way more streamlined, way more seamless, and that's just something that I love. I love the fact that now we don't have to worry so much about having to be taken away from the combat, be taken away from all the action that's happening. So I really do appreciate that. And endemic life differs drastically between seasons, which is really, really cool. For one season, you might see one set of endemic monsters, and for another season, not just monsters, but like pretty much everything there. Paratoads are also back. I believe that they were in Rise and in Sunbreak, so that's not anything new, but it's nice that they're back. Guarding at just the right time may cause a power clash, and a power clash is basically this sort of cinematic moment that happens between you and a monster. Background music changes dynamically based on fighting one versus multiple monsters. During Sandtide, lightning can hit and damage us, the players, and monsters, and apparently it does a lot of damage. So the Sandtide is basically when the stage changes and then this big sandstorm with all this lightning and stuff shows up. You'll want to be very careful and try to find some cover. There are some sections of the locale where you can go underground to actually fight some of the monsters there. And obviously we got introduced to Ray Douse, who's one of the new monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds. He's basically a monster that has a railgun. So if you were able to see trailer 3, you'll know that this monster is pretty dangerous. And if it gets hit by that lightning, the aforementioned lightning that I was talking about during the Sandtide, it actually gets a buff from that, doing even more damage. So it's pretty freaking insane. One new feature that I really love is environmental destruction. Grass burns away from lightning scorch marks. Basically, if your attack has any fires, let's say you are playing something like Switch Axe. When you're playing Switch Axe and you're doing your zero-sum discharge, I should say, the fire will actually burn the grass that's on the stage, and it will actually stay there, which to me it's just a nice little touch. Again, it's very subtle, but it's very realistic, and I really love that. It's really cool. Fishing is back as well, and the fishing system has been expanded. We can now use special lures rather than bait. So for you fishing folks who like collecting certain monsters or fishing, or if you're out there trophy hunting and stuff, you can definitely do that. One cool thing to note with barrel bombs is that now you can pick them up and throw them. Yes, you are hearing that right. You can actually throw the barrel bombs at monsters, which is really cool. It's also to say that if you get hit by a barrel bomb, it's going to do significant amount of damage, so you will want to be careful not to be in the blast radius of a barrel bomb. Also, strong monster roars can trigger barrel bombs prematurely, which we have seen in previous games, so that's nothing new, but it's just something to note. There is also this other feature called optimal health recovery, meaning it's an option that automatically chooses the correct size healing item and uses it. So there is like automatic healing, so you can set a specific healing item to heal you depending on how much health you've lost, which I think is pretty cool. I think it does the animation for you automatically, so you don't have to inherently do it, but it's still really interesting to see how that's going to look more or less in real time. Just to talk a little bit more about the character creator, it apparently is going to be a really well thought out character creator. So the characters are going to have multiple faces to pick from, and you can edit many different parts of their faces. It's going to include multiple color shades, and so I reckon people who are really interested in the character creator Monster Hunter Wilds, I reckon that you are really going to enjoy it. The new handler, Alma, she actually doesn't stay in the camp like our previous handler from Monster Hunter World. She's actually going to come out with you on quests and provide info on the fly, which is going to be nice. One thing to note as well is that the new feature, the secondary weapon, is not going to be available at the very beginning of the game, but it is something as you play the game more that you will be able to unlock, and apparently it's something that you'll be able to unlock pretty quickly. Layer armor is also returning, but as always, it is unlocked as the story progresses. So, but it is nice that that is returning. The player now can be caught by traps set by monsters. So, for example, Balahara's quicksand can forcibly transport players and monsters into different subterranean areas of the map, which we have seen a little bit in some gameplays. So, do be careful out there when you are fighting against Balaharas. It's pretty insane. And another thing to note about monsters is that there can be, I believe, up to six to 8 monsters. I believe it's 6 monsters in the locale all at the same time, and they could all show up and fight each other all at the same time. It's pretty insane, just the sheer amount of power that's going to take for Monster Hunter Wilds to do. But apparently this is something that we're likely going to see pretty commonly as we're playing the game. Just to talk a little bit more about the Sand Tide again, the Sand Tide actually doesn't happen across the entire map at the same time instantly. It's one of those things where it travels across it to cover it fully, like a real life storm. So in one part of the map it may not be happening, but on other parts of the map it actually is. So that's a really cool feature. One new thing that surprised a lot of people is that now the players can freely swim in areas where there is a large body of water, and you can dive in different areas. It is worth noting that there isn't any underwater combat, and that was explicitly stated by the director. That might be something we might get in a future expansion, I don't know. But it's really cool that now we can actually like go underwater and actually collect some materials and stuff like that. I think that's a really cool feature. And yeah, pretty much that's more or less all of the sort of notable features that I have seen or have heard about through various people and Twitter accounts. I want to give a big shout out to Ocean Is, I believe I said that right. Ocean Is has been taking a bunch of different notes. They were lucky enough to actually go to Gamescom and actually get to play the game. Just to kind of cap off this video, this game is going to be absolutely insane. There's just so many systems and so many things that kind of makes you appreciate just the sheer amount of coding and work that had to go to make all of these things so seamless. As I am doing this video and as I am recording this video, Monster Hunter won 4 awards at Gamescom, being the most entertaining, most epic, best trailer and one of the best, the best PlayStation game there. It's not surprising, to say the least, that it was going to win all of these awards. Right now, I think myself and many other people are just curious when we'll be able to get our hands on the game. Hopefully, there is a beta coming out relatively soon. I don't know if we're going to get that at TGS, which is coming up later next month, or, you know, whenever that happens. But I know many people, including myself, just really want to get our hands on the game and try out everything. And if you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a like below. And if you've been enjoying all the Monster Hunter content lately, do consider subscribing. I'm going to be posting several Monster Hunter Wilds videos between now and the game's release. And obviously, when the games are releasing, we're going to be doing even more really cool and fun content. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to listen if you made it this far. And until the next video, I'll see y'all next time. Peace.